Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to give you all an update on what is going on with my Sunrise on the Readathon reading. What is going on with my Sunrise on the Readathon reading so far? So let's get into it. As today's July 6th, our first canon call is actually tomorrow. So I'm hoping to get 2 more books done before canon call so that we can get as many points as possible for our group. But I did want to let you know what I've submitted so far. Did I like them? Would I recommend them? Those kind of things. So first thing I read this month was The Dead Cattail Assassins. I was able to use the BIPOC author legacy prompt, and I checked the audiobook out from my library, so I was able to use the library legacy prompt. And then for my bonus prompts, I was able to use my team color on the cover. I think that I had mentioned that I thought there was queer representation in here. There isn't. That was just my bad. So I think those are the 3 bonuses I was able to submit for this reading. In this book, you have Aveen, and she is a dead cattail assassin. You have these different groups of assassins who are basically like state-sanctioned assassin groups. And, you know, there's 3 rules. There are 3 unbreakable vows. First, the contract must be just, and she doesn't get to choose that. The goddess decides that. Second is even the most powerful assassin may only kill the contracted. And so she's only allowed to kill the person that they're contracted to kill. And the third, and the simplest one, is once you accept a job, you must carry it out. And if you stray, a final death would be a mercy. So it says a final death because she is actually dead. That's why they're called the dead cattails, because she has died and come back to life. The goddess that is over their Assassin's Guild has like brought her back to life. She signed a contract, and I think it's like for a century that she's going to be under this goddess's employment. One day she gets a contract. She's like, okay, cool. She goes to fulfill it, and the girl that she's supposed to assassinate looks an awful lot like her when she was a teenager. And so she's very confused. She kind of falters. She doesn't end up fulfilling the contract, and then the rest of the story is like the consequences of that, and we find out more about why this girl looks like her. We find out who sent the contract out in the first place. I really liked the why that the person had for contracting them out in the first place. I thought that the end was really interesting. Some people said they didn't like the end. It kind of got a little convoluted. I really liked it. I was there for the ride. I thought it was good. And I gave this book a 4.5 star. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. It's very short. It's like a novella, but I thought it was very interesting. I really liked how they put together different pieces to figure out how they were going to solve this problem. I really liked watching her and kind of a potential younger version of herself interact. So that was really interesting. I liked the ending. Again, I thought it was very clever. I thought it was wonderful. And I do highly recommend this one. This is actually my 3rd P. Djeli Clark. I have read Ring Shout and The Masters of Jinn. Yes. Yep. So I've read those other 2. So I've really enjoyed reading from P. Djeli Clark so far. So I do recommend this if you haven't read it yet. But so this was my first submission. My second submission was Other Terrors, an Inclusive Anthology. And this is an anthology collection where people's otherness is explored, and sometimes their otherness it gives them power, and sometimes it is a hindrance to them, but it explores like the otherness within people, and I really enjoyed it. I think overall I gave this a 3.75, but that was literally me adding up some of the stories and then dividing them out, because there were a couple of stories that I didn't like as much, or maybe I just personally didn't understand as much, but there's a lot of really good stories in here. I did really enjoy this one. What were my favorites? I don't have my paper where I wrote down my reviews on all of them, and this is not a book that I own, but I did buy a secondhand copy afterwards because I did really enjoy it and I would like to keep it. There was one, Night Deliveries or something like that, where there's this woman who does like DoorDash at night, and I really loved that one. That one was amazing. There was a really creepy one about this guy who like goes to his hometown, and everyone thinks that like he looks weird because like there's like this doppelganger who is like pretending to be him, that one was really interesting. Man, it is so hard to remember all the different ones like off the top of my head. Actually, I'm gonna go get my list. So let's see. Idiot Girls was good. I did not expect the twist at the end. Night Shopper was the one I was talking about, and that one was amazing. I really enjoyed that one. The Turning was really good. It's a world where certain kids like get this disease and they start turning into something else, and it's how society and their parents react to it, and that was wonderful. Misinfection USA was wild. Like, not my favorite, but it was absolutely wild, especially at the end. It's sad and it just tackles some hard topics, but that one was really good. Tiddlywinks, that one was crazy. It was about a group of kids who were going to the lake, and I think it was written by Stephen Graham Jones, Paul Tremblay, I can't remember which one. But that one is, there's this group of kids who are going like to a lake or something, and they play this really terrible game, and one of the kids is really bothered by the game to the point where he takes out really gory revenge on them. And I really enjoyed that one. I think Where Love Light Gleams is the one I was talking about, where the guy goes home and there's a doppelganger. It would be so much easier if I had the book because I could just flip through it. There were a lot of really good ones in this. It talks about queerness, it talks about people who are trans, it talks about people who might not speak the same language of the place that they're living. It talks about womanhood. It talks about children and the sometimes inability of adults to understand them. I just really enjoyed it. I think it's worth picking up. And so for this one, I got the legacy prompt for BIPOC authors. It is less than 3.75 stars on Goodreads, so that was another legacy prompt. And I originally borrowed it from the library, so I actually had 3 legacy prompts for that one, which was great. And then for the bonus prompts, let me go back and look at them. I'm trying to remember. Oh, that was a bonus prompt. Excuse me. I had 2 legacy prompts. This book had 2 legacy prompts that I could use, and it was written by BIPOC authors, and I originally borrowed this from the library. For the bonus prompts, it does have less than 3.75 stars on Goodreads, and it does have queer representation in it, but when you look at the submission, it says queer love, not queer hate or something like that. And so I did not count this as queer representation because there was not enough queer love. There was a lot of queer, like anti-queerness and anti-gayness and things like that in the stories. So I did not count it because I didn't feel like it was in keeping with the spirit of the game. So I just used those 3 prompts. But that was the second one. And then I read Grief Eater by Elizabeth Osborne. This was my first one I read for Summerween. So I won't talk about this one too much because I do want to talk about it more in my Summerween video. But I also borrowed this one from Hoopla. I do not have a physical copy of this, so I did borrow it from the library, so it does get that legacy prompt. And I think that was all the extra prompts that it got. But it is about a woman who is in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, and she turns into a zombie, and she wants revenge, and she's very hungry for revenge, and it is her story of seeking out revenge before she can let what she calls the red wave totally take her over. So it was really good, and I give that one 5 stars. And then I read Out There by Kate Folk. This is another one that I started for Summerween, so I'm not going to talk too much about it here. I did borrow the audiobook from the library, so I could count that as a library borrow for the legacy prompt. And that was the only extra prompt that I could use for this. I was reading this for Summerween, but I did want to count the pages, and I was glad that it's able to get that one legacy bonus prompt. That is Out There, and this is a collection of short stories that are horror adjacent, sci-fi adjacent. It explores a lot of really interesting topics, and my favorites in here were the last 3 were Moist House, The Turkey Rumble, and Big Sur. So I think overall I gave this one a 3.5 star. Yeah, I gave this one a 3.5 star because there were some stories in here that I either just really didn't like or really didn't understand, but the ones that were good in here were really good. So that is Out There by Kate Folk. Then the next one I read was Binti, The Night Masquerade by Nnedi Okorafor. For this one, I could use the legacy prompt of a BIPOC author, and I did borrow the audiobook from the library, so I can also use the library prompt for the legacy prompt. And then the bonus prompt is my team's color. Brown is on the cover, so I can submit that. And I think that was it. I don't think there was any other prompts. So those were the 3 prompts that I could use for The Night Masquerade. This one was really good. I think this one's probably my favorite of the 3 Binti books. This is the conclusion to the trilogy, and Binti, it picks up right where the last one stop, so it's kind of hard to talk about. But we see Binti really leaning into being a person of two tribes, being a person who has one foot on Earth and one foot out in the galaxy at her university. You really see her trying to be all things for all people, and you see how some people are more willing than others to let her be that. I really enjoyed this one. I loved it. Was sad at times, and but I thought that Nnedi Okorafor did a really good job writing this, wrapping up the conclusion. I liked the themes that she explored in here. I'm so sorry, this is so hard to talk about because this is the third one in the book, and so I don't want to ruin the first or second one. This was so good. If you've read the first Binti and you're like, I don't know if I want to read more, like, this one's, I give this one a 4.25 stars. So this one's my favorite of the three Binti books for sure. And it's not that long. I think it's just over 200 pages. Yep, it's just over 200 pages. And like I said, I think it's definitely worth a read. I think the themes that she explores in this are really wonderful. I think it shows, you know, people say you can never go home. Like there's a saying, like, you never can go home. And I don't think Binti is okay with that. And I think she wants to be a child of her tribe and a child of the world and a child of the galaxy. And I think it's beautiful the way that she doesn't bend to be less than. Like, she is who she is, and I really loved her for that. So that is Binti, the Night Masquerade. I have caught you up on the books that I have finished reading so far, but I am in the middle of two. I am about 50 pages away from being done with Pew by Catherine Lacey, and this I am reading for my Summerween for my horror pick. I haven't really hit the horror yet. I'm not sure what to do about that. This may end up just being something that a book that you read at night, because I did read most of this like in the evenings after my kids go to bed, because there is an audiobook, but I couldn't find it anywhere where I could borrow it, and it didn't make sense to buy it if I had the physical copy. So I am reading this with my eyeballs, and like I said, I'm this far, but it is good. I do think I want to talk about it once I've completely finished it. But we have what I said was an alien. That's not true. We have this person who shows up in this church one day. They're asleep on the church pew, and apparently everyone in the church just decides to start having service while this person is still sleeping on the pew. And then when the person wakes up, they're not talking. They're not sure who they are. They don't know how to articulate who they are. Nobody can figure out if, you know, this person is a boy or a girl. They don't know how old they are. They don't know their racial ethnicity, because depending on who looks at them, they kind of look a little bit different. The town is having a forgiveness festival on Saturday, and so it counts down from the Sunday before, and each day they're trying to figure out who this person is. The Reverend nicknames the person Pew so that they at least have something to call the person, and you get a lot of their internal thoughts, and then you get a lot of the town folks. And I'm just so curious, like, what is this forgiveness festival? I hate all the people in this town. They're terrible human beings. So I am really enjoying this one. I don't think there's a lot of legacy prompts I can use for this one. Like, the only prompt I can use for this one is that it is less than 3.75 stars on Goodreads, but that's okay, because like I said, I'm trying to read one and then the other, so I can use this for like a bingo board portion of it, because it is a new to me author. So that is what I have to say right now about Pew, but I am enjoying it, and I can't wait to tell you my full thoughts when I am done. The second book that I'm reading, and I am hoping to read both of these books and finish them before the canon call. I'm like 75% of the way through Pew, and I'm about 67% of the way through Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep by Paul Tremblay. And this is, again, Summerween pick. It is a new to me author. I've never read from Paul Tremblay before. I've heard all people talk about him. I have a book by him, but I've never read from him. And I am really enjoying this one so far. It is so freaking weird. I am also bummed that I am not in the group that has green or blue, because again, there's not going to be a ton that I can count for this one, except I think it already has less than 3.75 stars on Goodreads. Let's look. Yeah, it does have less than 3.75 stars. It has 3.69. I'm not sure why, because I am really enjoying it so far. But when I submit it, if it is still low like that, then I can count it for that bonus prompt. I can count the pages, which is great, but I'm hoping to get both of these done so I can get them submitted, because every page helps in saving our tributes on Sunrise on the Readathon. So these are the books that I have read so far and or are currently in the middle of reading for Sunrise on the Readathon. I've had a really good time so far, and I am working on my physical TBR because I have 1, 2, 3, almost 4 books done, and I just barely started Womb City, and I didn't realize how heavy this book was going to be. It feels very like Handmaid's Tale, and I'm only like 11% of the way in, so I am going to read this one for Sunrise on the Readathon. I was originally going to read it for Summerween, but I think I need to take more time with this one, so I'm just going to be reading this kind of slowly in the background because this is such heavy topics. I don't know why. It has an incredibly low rating on Goodreads, but this is like gut punching. That is on the horizon. Our first canon call is going to be tomorrow, July 7th. I don't know if I'm going to post this before the canon call or wait till the canon call, update y'all on what happened, and then submit it. So we will see, but I did want to get this filmed while I had time. And thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I will see you later. Bye. Hi everyone, just wanted to pop in for a final update. We did have the canon call and we lost 1 tribute. We lost Harlan, but we still have 5 tributes left, which is amazing. And so I wanted to just wrap this video up. I'm gonna pop in a screenshot, and here are the tributes that we lost yesterday between all the districts. And then the bottom 4 that are in color are actually the 4 that were saved. I was able to submit Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep for the first round. I did not finish Pew until after the submission deadline, so that one was submitted for the second week, which is fine. And I will talk more about those in my next video. I did just want to let you know where we stand with our tributes. We do have 5 left for Team Earth, and I will talk to you all next time. See you later. Bye. Masquerade. No, this was not my second submission. I know that for sure. My second submission. My brain. I'm so tired. And I've only done 2. It is bumpy as crap on this road. Hold on.